Alright guys, so in the book, we're now on part 3. Part 3 is titled Zach in the Box. And you could find part 3 on page 143. And it'll be chapter 17. So I'm just going to read to you chapter 17. Zach, you're going to Los Angeles with us tomorrow, his mother said. It was early Thursday morning, and Zach was in the kitchen, eating a bowl of cereal, waiting for Wanda to get out of the bathroom. If she didn't come out in the next few minutes, Catalin would have to walk to school without him. In their former house, they had had 3.5 bathrooms. I really don't want to go, Mom, he said. I have a lot of things going on at school. I'm a stagehand now, and I'm supposed to stay after school Friday and help Sam. I'm sure he can spare you for one day. I'm sorry I didn't give you more warning, but I just found out about the book convention yesterday. Publishers from all over the country will be there, as well as retailers. It'll give me a chance to meet them and get some tips for my bookstore. A lot of famous authors will be speaking and signing books. You'll have a good time. And while we're there, we'll take Wanda over to the UCLA campus for a quick tour. UCLA, University of California at Los Angeles. Catalin's grandfather's in town, and I was going to ride up to the Rubies on Saturday when they take him back. I really don't want to miss that. I'm sure you don't, his mother said. Now, on a completely different subject, I was talking to a salesman at the bookstore yesterday, and he said something about you getting into a fight with a boy at school. This is old news. Zach nearly dropped his spoon. Everyone knows everything about everybody. He would have to tell Daryl there was a 4th E in Elko. Eventually. And Zach mumbled. What did you say? Well, I wouldn't call it a fight, Zach said. It was more like a little scuffle. It happened weeks ago. No big deal. It is a big deal, and I don't want you fighting or scuffling, she told him. And you're coming with us to Los Angeles. I cannot leave you in the house alone. Why not? I stayed in our old house alone, and you didn't have a problem with it back then. Well, things are different now. Yeah, I'm older, Zach said. You know what I mean. Zach knew, but it seemed ridiculous. How about if I stayed with Sam? I couldn't ask him to do that. You don't have to, Zach said. I will. It's too much of an imposition. He's an old man with friends and a life of his own. He doesn't need a boy underfoot. Just let me ask him, Zach pleaded. If he says no, then I will go with you without complaining. His mother thought about it for a moment. Well, let's take it a step further than that, she said. If you ask him and he says yes, tell him to come by the store after school, and I'll be the judge of his enthusiasm and let you know. It's a deal. Wanda came out of the bathroom with a towel wrapped around her head like a turban. I'm not finished in there, she said. I'll only be a minute. Zach dashed for the bathroom and slammed the door. I mean it, Zach, Wanda shouted at the door. This is an important day for me. The Opera Ghost auditions are today. Mrs. Osborne looked at her watch. Don't worry. If he's not out in 2 minutes, he won't be able to walk to school with his new friend. Wanda laughed. Oh, he'll be out then. Zach and Catalin got to school about 10 minutes before the bell rang. I'm going to talk to Sam, Zach said. I'll see you in homeroom. He found Sam on top of the hydraulic lift trying to unhook the chain holding up the punching bag. Just in time, Sam said. What are you doing? Zach asked. Clearing out a space so we'll have more room to work on the stage sets and props. He lowered the lift. Let's switch places. I'll hold the bag up while you unhook the chain. Zach got into the lift and held up the button until he reached the ceiling. Ready? Sam asked. Okay. Sam wrapped his arms around the heavy bag and with a grunt lifted it up. Zach unsnapped the chain from the eye bolt and Sam dropped the bag with a thud. What are you going to do if someone needs the bag? Zach asked, lowering the lift. I guess everyone will just have to stay out of trouble until the production is over. Why don't you and Daryl come back down here after school and we'll haul this bag out of here? What about the auditions? The day before, Mrs. Pyle made an announcement over the school intercom that students could not be anywhere near the auditorium during auditions. Oh, that's right. Maybe you and Daryl can come by after lunch and give me a hand. Sure. Where are we going to put it? We'll put it up on the stage, and I'll get someone to haul it away later this week. What brought you down here, Zach? Zach explained the reason for his early morning visit. You're more than welcome to stay with me at the Nevada, Sam said enthusiastically. In fact, there's a spare room right now, and I'm sure Mrs. Cristobal wouldn't mind you bunking there for a couple days. Mom said that you're going to have to convince her that you really want me. She wanted to know if you could stop by the store this afternoon. I can't this afternoon, Sam said. I expect the auditions to run late. You're sitting in on the auditions? I'm on the high school theater committee, and of course it's my opera. My sister's trying out for the part of Christine. I know, Sam said, and from what I understand, she has a good chance of getting the part. The high school drama instructor told me she has a voice like an angel. Wanda will have some competition, though. The bell rang. I better go, Zach said. If I'm late for PE, Mr. Dugan will make me run extra laps and climb the rope to the ceiling of the gym. Well, don't worry about this weekend. I'll drive over to the bookstore later this morning and square it up with your mother. Zach was late for PE and Mr. Dugan was in a foul mood. He made Zach climb the rope 3 times. He thought Mr. Dugan might skip the extra laps, but he didn't. Still sweating after his shower, Zach willed his numb legs down the hallway to his home room, but his discomfort did not diminish his contentment. Before he sat down, he stopped at Kataline's desk and told her the good news about staying at the Nevada. She was happy too. Zach sat down and began going through his binder, trying to find the homework he had finished the night before, when he heard someone say, "Who's Commander If?" Zach's head snapped up. Written in big letters on the chalkboard was, "Commander If was here." Uh-oh. I have no idea, Mrs. Miller said, but if I find out who wrote this, they'll be spending time after school scrubbing my chalkboard because this red chalk is nearly impossible to erase. Zach stared in disbelief at the board. Cataline glanced back at him, smiling along with all the other students. This is not a good way to start the day, Mrs. Miller continued. Your homework had better be finished. Pranks like this put me in a very unforgiving mood. Zach barely heard her. He looked around the room expecting to see at least one of his classmates smirking at him, but there were no smirks. Most of them were desperately trying to finish their homework, while others were stacking their assignments neatly on their desks for Mrs. Miller to pick up. He quickly ran through all the possibilities. First possibility, pure coincidence. Someone else had an imaginary friend. If his father or grandfather called their imaginary friend If, there was a chance that the name was common. But what were the chances of someone naming their imaginary friend Commander? Just about 0, Zach concluded. Second possibility. His father was out of jail and was trying to get in touch with him. Not likely, Zach thought. His father would be a lot more direct, and as far as he knew, his father didn't even know they were living in Elko, or their last names for that matter. Third possibility. His sister had told one of her friends about her weird brother and his imaginary friend. In turn, they passed the information on to their little brother or sister, who couldn't resist playing a joke on the new guy in school. My first thoughts is this has to do with his journals. Someone got a hold of his journals, or his backpack. So that's just what I think. Elk goes 3 E's again. This was the only reasonable explanation. He was going to kill Wanda. The effect of the prank on the class seemed to be fading fast as Mrs. Miller did her best to erase the sentence. By the time class ended, everyone seemed to have forgotten about it, including Catalin, who didn't mention it once during lunch. She spent almost the whole lunch period talking about what they would do up in the Rubies. Zach didn't hear half of what she said. He was still shaken by the chalkboard incident. A prank wasn't fun unless you confronted the victim, but no one had stepped forward yet, and this had worried. This had him worried. He and Daryl left the cafeteria early to help Sam lug the punching bag up to the stage. Peter Short watched Zach and Daryl get up and leave the cafeteria. He wondered what Zach's reaction would have been if he had joined them at the table with the book he was reading at home. The thought brought a smile to his face. "What's so funny, Peter?" his lunch partner asked. "Nothing," Peter said quickly, getting rid of the smile. He would have to be careful or his fun would be over before it really got going. One of the things his father had taught him was to play his cards close to his chest. Never show them what you have. Keep a poker face. Something as small as a twitch of an eye can give your hand away, and the game is over. Be patient. Peter was enjoying this game too much for it to be over. He had told no one about what he had found. He had resisted the temptation to write on the board until this morning. He had been patient. So there it is. It's Peter. He's got his bag, got his journals or something. No good. Twist. Okay, the last page of the chapter. The final bell rang, and still no one had approached Zach about Commander If. He concluded that Mrs. Miller's negative reaction must have scared them off. After school, Daryl was waiting for him at his locker. "Want to see the Phantom auditions?" "It's a closed audition," Zach said. "The only people allowed in the auditorium are the people trying out and the teachers involved in the production." Daryl smiled. "They'll all be sitting down below. I was upstairs earlier today, and you know what I discovered?" Zach shook his head. "One of the balcony doors is unlocked. It's dark up there, and if we sit toward the back, nobody will see us." Catalin's mother had picked her up early from school for a dentist appointment. The only thing Zach had to do after school was talk to his sister, but he wouldn't be able to do that until she got home from the auditions. Who else knows about the door? Zach wasn't about to sneak up there with a crowd of kids. As soon as a nervous high school student hit a wrong note, one of them would start laughing and they would all get caught. "Just the 2 trusty stagehands," Daryl said. "In fact, Sam probably would have let us sit in on the audition if we had asked." Zach seriously doubted that, but he did want to see Wanda audition. He put his things in his locker, and they went upstairs to find their seats. It's already getting heavy. Let's just hope he doesn't get caught or get into any kind of trouble.